Hello, Emmy fans and TV fans in general. I am Gold Derby Senior Editor Daniel Montgomery, here with my fellow Senior Editors Joyce Eng and Marcus James Dixon. We are here to talk about the Emmy race for Best Drama Series. And if you want to predict the race for Best Drama Series, you can go to goldderby.com and make your predictions right there. You can keep updating them as often as you like until the nominations are announced in July. And of course, you will want to update your predictions when we tell you what's going to happen right now. As we're recording this, we're 2 days after the Game of Thrones series finale. So that is the context wherein we're talking about this race right now. It's the front runner to win Best Drama Series according to our odds. Let's start there. We'll go into the other 6 likely contenders for Best Drama Series afterwards. But first off, start with you, Marcus. What did you think about the finale and how it relates to the show's potential Emmy chance for Best Drama Series?
Well, first of all, I think you deserve an Emmy for that intro. That was amazing. And,
best host.
Yeah, best.
Sorry, RuPaul.
No, I'll submit daytime.
Okay.
I'll win there.
Listen, the Game of Thrones finale was very divisive. I happened to be on the side that was like, it was good. Was it the greatest finale ever? No. I don't think anyone thinks that. Was it the worst finale ever? No. And just ignore this vocal minority that's popping up on every aspect of the internet, because the Emmy voters don't care about that. The Emmy voters are going to care about all of the crafts combined. Like, all of those people get to vote for Best Drama Series. All of the acting voters get to vote for Best Drama Series. So even though a lot of people didn't like it, it's not going to affect its Emmy chances. It's still going to win. And then I could go on my little rants at a different time, but it was good. It was good.
Okay. And what about you, Joyce?
Yeah, the season overall was not great, to put it terribly. And I don't think the finale was terrible. It was just sort of an episode of television I watched. Like, it was just there, and there were a lot of issues of the writing throughout the whole season, and there were still a lot of plot holes in the finale. But I agree with Marcus that, the rest, like, aside from the writing, the rest of the show is like almost unimpeachable, like from the technical standpoint. And even the actors, say what you will about the actors and like how they've improved or not over the years, but they did not have a lot of work with this season, and they did the best they could with it. And I just feel like if there's no real like alternative to beat Game of Thrones this year, because so many shows just skipped the season, like Handmaid's Tale. Big Little Lies was internal competition, so it's like, you could kind of forgive that. And Westworld was always coming back next year, but Stranger Things, it's like, and I like the other shows that everyone's predicting, I don't know if any of them at this point is strong enough. Maybe we'll be singing a different tune once, we see the nominations, and if there's like one particular show that blows up, that seems like a viable alternative. But right now, I think it's still winning.
Yeah, I think it's still winning too. I thought the season, I've never been like a super fan of Game of Thrones. I've thought it's had amazing crafts. I think it's had some really great moments in terms of writing and acting and storytelling, and some low moments that I wasn't as big a fan of.
Yeah, it was wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, I think this last season was kind of really problematic, and I think the writers just wrote themselves into a corner. They had too much ground to cover, and they left themselves not enough time to cover it, because I think it was Benioff and
they were just rushing
wanted to end
it over
it
with.
soon. HBO would have kept the show on until 2030 if they could have.
It's funny that I would argue that even though they had so much to cover, it's like some of these scenes in the finale could have been trimmed. I mean, these scenes lasted forever.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
There was a scene of Tyrion arranging chairs. Like, he's literally arranging the deck chairs.
But like, there's like the last 3 episodes were like, I think like 80 minutes long or something. And it's so weird because it felt like they were doing nothing at certain points. Yeah. And then they were just doing too much because they just excised these scenes that we should have had. Right. Like, John telling his sisters his true parentage. And then it just gives us these, like 10 minutes, like scenes of like Tyrion walking.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and the scene with Jon and Tyrion in the prison cell. Just I looked at my watch. I'm like, is this scene still going on? This is the finale. Let's get going.
It was exposition. It was just
like all of Peter Dinklage's monologues were exposition.
Every word Peter did, and this is why I admire the actors on the show so much. I think they had a Herculean task, and Peter Dinklage especially, his job in that finale was to deliver exposition in a way that felt emotional, but whose actual purpose was to make sense of the plot twists that were about to happen. So that
and also to like retcon what has already happened, what they did not care to show. Because they should have given like Dany a scene because her heel turn was so dramatic. There wasn't enough time for that to develop. It didn't feel earned, and they should have at least like given her a scene in the finale before she died to sort of explain, like outside of that speech, explain her motivations and everything. And, they had her say that she couldn't count to 20 twice when she was a child, and then she dies. And then they just gave heavy lifting to Peter Dinklage.
That turned me, like, I couldn't count to 20 as a child, and if I had a dragon, I would have committed genocide. Like, absolutely.
Another thing I just wanted to mention real fast is Lena Headey's screen time this season was non-existent. I can't believe, this was my favorite character, and she hardly had anything to do. So that was my number one gripe about the season. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It was not everything I wanted it to be, but it was still, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Yeah, like I don't really have an issue with where everyone ended up. It's just how they got there that was bad.
Yeah, I think that was a problem, and I honestly think the place that I would hold it against the show is best writing. Like, unless they submit the Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode for writing, they should the writers branch could probably skip that category.
Yeah, I mean, it did lose last year.
Yeah.
So.
But as we were saying, will it lose best drama series because the last season and those last episodes especially were very divisive, or is there really nothing to take it down? I think, like both of you were saying, right now I don't see what beats it, and I think Joyce is right that on nominations morning we might find out if a show drastically overperforms. I think Killing Eve has built so much buzz over the last year, even since it aired its first season and now into its second season. If that show explodes in a significant way, I think that could position itself as the alternative. Something like Ozark, which is really going to be the big player for Netflix this season. They don't have The Crown. They don't have Stranger Things this season. So Netflix's campaigning attention won't be as divided, although they also have Bodyguard. But actually, the best thing for Netflix might be if only one of those shows gets in, they can put all their muscle behind that one show and focus on it. And
they also have
so well in the guilds.
The final season of House of Cards, but if that gets in, I think it'll just be for actress. I don't know if it's getting into
no
drama.
one really cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's in for actress, but yeah, drama series feels like a longer shot. And then there's Better Call Saul, which has sort of been waiting in the wings for a while.
I just want that show to win at least one Emmy anywhere.
It doesn't have the buzz it used to, but it has an opening here, and it has an opening for Best Actor for Bob Odenkirk. I think this is the best chance it's had in either thus far.
This was the most Breaking Bad season yet of Better Call Saul. I mean, they are bringing in everyone from that show except like the main characters. So if there are still Breaking Bad fans out there, they could be voting for it. I do think Ozark is number 2 though, behind Game of Thrones. It's going to really explode this year, just like Breaking Bad did in season 2. It's going to get in for drama series and writing and directing, and Laura Linney and Jason Bateman and maybe what's her name? Julia Garner. And maybe Peter Mullen.
I have Peter Mullen getting in too, just because I feel like that show is going to be so big. It
always overperforms when no one is expecting.
Yeah, at every award show.
And now we're expecting it. Watch it underperform.
Yeah.
But before we let me actually for everyone watching this at home, go down what's number 2 through number 7. There are 7 slots for best drama series at the Emmys, or 8 or 9, depending on if the last vote getters are close enough to the total of the top 7. So after Game of Thrones in our racetrack odds, we have number 2, Killing Eve, number 3, Better Call Saul, number 4, This Is Us, which we haven't talked about yet, number 5, Ozark, Number 6, Homecoming, which we haven't talked about yet. And 7, we actually have Succession, another HBO show, which we haven't talked about yet. So we have a bunch of ground that we could cover here. Let's start with This Is Us, which we haven't discussed yet. That's 4th in our odds right now. It's been nominated the last 2 years in a row. It lost a little ground last year. I think it's vulnerable, but I also don't think there's enough, with shows like The Crown, Stranger Things, Handmaid's Tale out of the running this year. I don't see that there is enough coming up behind it that it'll lose its spot. What do you think, Joyce?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like there's just too many openings for it to retain a spot, so it could just get in again from inertia. But I could see it just decreasing in nominations again because it doesn't seem like voters really love that show. And, it hasn't been able to break it into like writing or directing. It lost like acting nominations, although it still won one last year in guest. So I feel like it's like one of those like actorly shows that might just benefit from that kind of love. It won SAG again. And, I could see like Chrissy Metz getting back in since there's a ton of openings in that category as well. So I think it retains its spot in drama series.
By default.
Yeah. But I don't think it has a chance of winning.
Yeah. How about you, Marcus?
It's been a long time since a broadcast drama series has gotten 3 nominations here. I mean, The Good Wife only got 2 and then it was dropped.
And it didn't even make it back in for its best season 5.
Maybe Lost was the last time that a show got 3. I think that got 4 total. So it's been a while. So I think it'll happen this year. And most of that is because of all of the open slots. But yeah, I don't know if it could win. I mean, actually, I probably think it can't win. But look out for the actors. I mean, Justin Hartley could get in this year. Sterling and Milo, I think, are both getting in again. Mandy Moore, she could finally get in for the first time. So I think a lot of the actors could get in. Maybe some guest stars.
Yeah, I think that'll be the last stronghold for This Is Us when the story of the shows at the Emmys is told in a few years. Once that show is done, that'll be the actors branch show. I think even if it falls out of best drama series at some point in the future, I feel like it'll still, like, Sterling will hold on, and maybe Milo, maybe Chrissy could come in and out. Justin Hartley could come in and out. Wouldn't be the first time someone got nominated for a show like on their 3rd season for the first time. So Justin could certainly do it. Susan Kelechi Watson could do it.
Yeah, I have her getting in.
Yeah. So and the actors branch is really holding that show up, and I think it's going to be. I think it'll get in again, but I do think it's a little vulnerable. It's not a sure thing, but I feel like it's solid.
Yeah, if it got snubbed, I would not be shocked. But if it made it in, I'll be like, okay, yeah.
Right.
And let's talk about a show from a network that hasn't gotten in, and not even a network, a streaming service that hasn't gotten into this category yet, I don't think. Amazon, they have Homecoming, and that's in our top 6. That's in 6th place in our odds. I loved this show. I think it's vulnerable. I don't think it did as strongly in the winter award season as we would have thought for a show from the creator of Mr. Robot, who directed all the episodes, Julia Roberts, Oscar winner, one of the biggest stars in the world. And it sort of had a soft impact on the award scene last fall, and it's been several months since it came out. So is it going to hold on for best drama series? I'm wondering. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Amazon is powerful. And this is probably going to be their big push for best drama. So what do you think about that, Marcus?
I think this will be Amazon's first drama series. They've gotten in a ton of their comedies, but it's so different and so unique that people that watched it really, really loved it. Question is, did enough Emmy voters watch it? I know it got nominated at a lot of guilds, but I don't know if it won a lot. I can't remember.
It didn't. It did like okay at guilds. I think it got like editing or something, but don't like hold me to that. But
Riley would know.
Yeah, he would know. But yeah, I just feel like it never like the buzz and the love for it never matched like the pre-premiere expectations for it. And then, you know, I feel like maybe like this time last year or whenever like Julia Roberts signed on, we were like, oh my God, she's gonna like sweep everything. And then, you know, like the Sandra Oh train came out and dominated. And then, you know, now like we know like she and Sam Esmail are not coming back for season 2 as like, you know, writer, director, star, like they're just gonna be producers. So I don't have it in currently. I did have it at one point, but I don't know. I feel like there's like 6 shows like fighting for those last couple of spots. And I could just like rotate one of them out like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Some races like drama actress, for instance. I think there are 7 women in that race altogether, and like 6 of them will get in, and maybe all 7 if there's a
oh, interesting.
But in drama series, I do feel like after your top 4 or 5, there are another like 8 shows that could get in, but aren't necessarily guaranteed. I don't think I currently have Homecoming in there. How about you?
I have it in 5th place, actually. Amazon's pushing it really hard. And Julia, even though she's not coming back, she is part of the campaign. And I think she was at the Amazon FYC experience. So yeah, I think it's going to get in. But if, like Joyce said, for, you know, This Is Us, if Homecoming doesn't get in, I won't be surprised. But I'm predicting it.
Yeah, I think the key for it is to lean on the Julia Roberts factor, in the sense that, like, if she's out campaigning for it, if she's out promoting it, even though she's not coming back to the show and it aired a while ago, if it feels like an afterthought for her career, then I feel like it's going to be an afterthought at the Emmys. So I feel like if she, you know, comes out and supports the show, you know, Amazon, you know, pushes her front and center and, you know, look at this work she did. This is an incredible performance that she gave, which it absolutely is, and it deserves attention and recognition. I feel like they could, but I feel like it has to be a hard push, because it's not something that I think people are gonna remember on their own.
Yeah, it's weird because like it seemed like she was gearing up for this big comeback at the end of last year between this and Ben Is Back, and both of them kind of flatlined a little bit. So yeah, she really needs to get out there. Like, I mean, she can get in just because she's Julia Roberts. So there's a scenario where I can see she being the only representative nominee of the show. And then there's one where I could see it getting series, her, like Bobby Cannavale, like writing, directing, you know?
They love Bobby.
They do love Bobby.
They love Bobby, and they don't love Julia as much as you'd think they would.
No, she lost to Kathy Bates.
She lost to Kathy Bates. Before that, I remember it was a huge deal when she was dating
on
Benjamin
Law and Order.
On Law and Order. Best drama guest actress. She's got it in the bag. She lost to Deborah Monk for NYPD Blue. So she's not an automatic name check for Emmy voters. So I am a little bit wary of thinking, oh, it's the movie star factor, she's going to get in. I think she will.
Well, they nominate her, they just don't give her the award.
Almost every time she does TV, she gets nominated for it.
Yeah.
Not often. And then in 7th place in our odds, and this is a show that I'm predicting. This is a show that felt like it came out last summer. I don't know. It didn't feel like it was in the zeitgeist very much, but then in the award season, it started picking up steam. And that's Succession, which is the kind of HBO prestige, you know, family drama that like 10 years ago would have been a shoo-in for awards, but now that just the landscape is so saturated with shows, you know, it risks, you know, falling, you know, off the radar. But it's done well at the precursor.
It won DGA.
It won
for
DGA
Adam McKay.
Adam McKay. You know, so it'll be writing that. His notoriety. It's produced by Will Ferrell, who's done a lot of producing work, never won an Emmy, and has several nominations as a producer. And it just has that prestigious sheen, that kind of Mad Men, wealthy kind of prestige quality that I think Emmy voters you have often gone for. I don't know if it's as consistently anymore, because, you know, now you get like gritty stuff like Ozark and Better Call Saul coming into the mix these days. But I feel like this kind of boutique show has a real chance, especially with like an A-list actor like Brian Cox in the lead role. Kieran Culkin got a Golden Globe nomination. Matthew McFadden got in at the Critics' Choice Awards. It's been popping up a little bit everywhere, and I'm wondering if this might be kind of like the sleeping giant.
Yeah, I have it getting in, like, and I also won BAFTA for international series. Like, I don't think it will win, but I can see it just being like the drama version of like Silicon Valley, where they like it and they nominate it and it's just there for a while. And season 2 is premiering at the right time. It's premiering in August when voting is going on. So if it gets in, it could benefit from that.
It is very snobby, and Emmy voters are snobs. And look, HBO, they often have 2 nominees in drama series. I mean, Westworld's sitting out, so Succession could very easily take that slot.
Now, they're outside of our top 7 in our odds, and I know our personal or our individual top 7 predictions don't line up perfectly with this top 7 in our odds. And so let's just talk about a couple of those other shows that aren't in our predictions, but maybe should be, or at least we think maybe they should be. And I think the first among those is Pose. It's FX is a powerful contender at the Emmys. Ryan Murphy is a powerful contender at the Emmys. It's a groundbreaking show. It's returning at the right time, so it's going to have buzz building back up going into its 2nd season this summer. I think it's getting into the top 7. What about you, Marcus?
It's the most important show on the list, and if Emmy voters want to make a stand, you know, this show will get in. And look, without the Americans, this is FX's best shot. And so they're going to put a lot, they already have been putting a lot of money and ads and everything behind this show. And I have it getting in right now in 7th place. It got a ton of Globe nominations, right? But it didn't.
Yeah, but that's like a totally Globe show.
It is. And the Globe voters love Ryan Murphy. But then again, remember he surprised us last year. He won directing for Versace, and Versace won limited series. So the Emmys' love for Ryan Murphy is just as strong.
This would be Ryan's first drama series nominee. He's never gotten into that category before. Yeah, I can see it getting in. I think I have it out right now. I think I had it at one point. I'm just doing my rotation. But it was the first FYC packet like sent to voters. So like that can help it greatly, since there's, you know, literally 500 shows at this point and everyone is sending out DVDs right now. So they, you know, FX got out ahead of the game. So people could have popped in those DVDs and watched them like 2 months ago.
And the show has some really great advocates, like Billy Porter is, you know, Tony winner, got the Golden Globe nomination for Pose, well respected, vocal about the politics of the show and politics of his own politics as an actor and an out gay actor.
He's exploded in the past year.
Yeah, the gown, the tuxedo gown at the Oscars was outstanding, and it also touched on these issues of gender fluidity that the show is really open about exploring a variety of gender identities. And so I think it has that importance. Like you said, Marcus, it has that factor where it feels like an important show. It's got the prestige, it's got the network, it's got Ryan Murphy, it's got things that they like, people they like. I think MJ Rodriguez does have an outside shot for Best Drama Actress. That would be a groundbreaking nomination. An openly trans woman nominated for a leading role on a TV show would just be explosive. So I think it's getting in. I feel I think I might have it in like 5th or 6th place, not even in my last lot. I think I have Succession in number 7. I think Pose is getting in. And then here's another show that could get in. It's a big show. It's a huge show, but it's an international show. How big is it here? And that's Bodyguard.
Yeah.
It won the Golden Globe for Richard Madden. It feels like probably one of the buzzier shows Netflix has that's eligible this season. But it's a question for me about whether that translates on this side of the Atlantic, if that's really more of a British phenomenon, or will that carry over here? What do you think, Joyce?
I have it getting in. I just put it in a couple weeks ago. I love Bodyguard. And I actually also just put Keely Halls in because she isn't supporting now. So I hope it gets in. And it feels like, you know, one of those like smart like thrillers that's also just really well written and directed, and it's also short. So I feel like if someone, you know, hasn't gotten around to catching up with this like Bodyguard show and they see it's 6 episodes, they might be more inclined to watch it as opposed to one of the other nominees that's, you know, more than 6 episodes. And I feel like, you know, even outside of like Rocket Man, like Richard Madden has been doing a ton of press and like FIC events for it so far. So that could go a long way.
I think he's definitely getting in for Best Actor. He could even win. Although right now
I think if it's still the tape system, he would win with the finale.
And people that watch Bodyguard just love They're obsessed with it. It's one of those, you know, fanatical type shows. Are voters watching? I guess we'll find out, you know, in a month or so.
Wouldn't it be interesting if Richard Madden gets in and like and Kit Harington, and not like, what if Kit Harington doesn't get nominated? And that would be the ultimate revenge for the Red Wedding. It's like, you killed me off, and now I got a lead actor nomination before you did.
That's why it's better if they both get in, and then like, Richard wins.
I would love them both to get in. That'd be amazing.
That would be, honestly, I would love to see that. Just because it would be lovely to see, because you know, like at you know, the events leading up to the Emmys, like the performer luncheons and stuff like that. We'd have some reunions of those two, and
they've already had like a ton, yeah. Like just from like events like this year, like they've all been like posting pictures. So yeah, I feel like that would just be fun for like fans in general, you know.
Yeah, there are so many other shows that we could talk about, but I don't want to go into them too deeply. There's one other I want to talk about, but like there's Good Fight, CBS All Access, you know, as we talked about, House of Cards. Ray Donovan has done well in the past, but I don't think it's ever gotten in for drama series. There's so many shows just kind of bubbling under. But one show that's kind of a weird X factor. I'm not predicting it'll get in, but this is kind of an untested scenario because it's never been eligible as a drama series before, and that's American Horror Story. It always did well to varying degrees when it was in the limited series categories. Is that just limited series is not usually an easier field to get into, at least not these days, than drama series. Could we be underestimating American Horror Story for like maybe drama series? What do you think about that, Marcus?
It's possible. I think the best shot it has, though, is Jessica Lange in guest star. It's so ironic because she was not even eligible. She doesn't have enough screen time to be a supporting actress in a limited series. But now, because of this rule switch, which I'm not sure if FX was okay with this or not, but it's just a rule, they're going drama now. So now they're eligible in the guest stars. So Jessica Lange, I'm going to pick her to win as soon as we open that predictions center category. But as for drama series, I don't know. It's like I think all of the genre fan voters are going to put their votes on Game of Thrones. And I mean, it's possible it could get in. I could see it getting in a lot of the tech categories, though, like the costumes and the makeup and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think like its ceiling in terms of major nominations would be in acting. Like I could see it getting like supporting nominations, you know, like Sarah Paulson has like an outside shot. But I don't see it getting into drama series. I mean, Jessica could like totally win Guest Actress.
Yeah, that'd be. I would love that.
I don't think the show itself, when it was in limited, has been nominated since Freak Show.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Like, they've kind of been like over it as like a series overall, even if they keep nominating the actors.
Well, I mean, viewers, we've given you a lot to think about, to mull over about this year's Best Drama Series nominations. Our thoughts will continue to evolve as the weeks and months progress. We've still, as we're recording this, have about 2 months before the Emmy nominations are announced in July. So we, keep following along with us at goldderby.com and here on our YouTube channel. Please click like and subscribe to see more of these slugfests. And we will see you again soon. And feel free to tell us in the comments, you will anyway, what we're wrong about, what we forgot to mention, what we're just idiots for even considering in the first place. So let us know that kindly in the in the comments here and at goldderby.com. Thank you very much, Joyce and Marcus, and thank you everyone for watching.